It's Gordo here from Gordo's Games, and I'm bringing you some Digimon TCG content today. Today I'm bringing you my very first deck profile for EX01. Obviously this one's only a smaller selection of cards in that, but I have to say it's probably one of my favourites so far, just purely because of one deck, and that's this one here. I'm going to go straight into it. If you do like the profile, if you do like the content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you know when this great content goes live for you. And don't forget, let's get digital and let's get going. Up into it. So we're going to start it off here with the eggs. We're running 4 Pokemon. Pokemon generally just one of Black's better eggs purely because it's always got a use. It's not situational, it's not circumstantial. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's Black, Digimon out hand. Doesn't matter what colour card you've got or anything like that. It's not like it has to be Black or anything like that. It doesn't have to be a block or just have a reboot. It is generally a good card. And we run a one of while this Digimon has blocker, it gains 1000 DP. Now personally, I think this should have said your turn. I think your opponent's turn. Just purely because blocker is only relevant really to that point most of the time. You do run some blockers, and you could run more of this if you really wanted to, but I think generally this one just works better overall. We run 8 level 5s. 8 level 5s, 8 level 3s. We're jumping ahead of ourselves here. So, for Hagoromon, really good card for this set. Good in this deck, good in DBGate as well because it works with machines or cyborgs. On play, you may trash one Digimon card with machine or cyborg in its trace from your hand to draw 2 cards. So basically, you get a body on board, that's 1 card out of your hand, you trash one from hand, there's 2 cards out of your hand, but then you replace those 2 cards by draw power. And putting cards in your trash cycles puts you in a much better position, and then replacing the cards with potentially other targets does a lot of work as well. So really good card, really strong, and then you just swing with this because you don't carry that afterwards. One of Tumon, possibly would bump this up to 2 and drop down this next card by 1 because it never seems to come up. This really helps in the blue matchup just because of Ice Wall and everything like that. It helps in the mirror match. Because you're obviously for the big boss monster in this deck, you gain memory back of its effect. And then Chikurimon is the 3 of here. This I like the card, it's a great card. It can really help against Jesmon, it can help in the mirror, but I never see it. It's like, I don't think it's once if it's come off and it's been useful. So I possibly go a 2 and 2 with the Tumon. There we have it, 8 level 3s. We run 5 level 4s. And they're all blockers. First one is the new Digimon. So as you know, Digimon's the old Digimon, 7k body, couldn't attack. Guess what? Still can't attack, but it's a 6k body, but it gets inheritable, which is really good. Same principle as Agora, but it's on swing. So when attacking, you may trash one Digimon card with machine or cyborg in its trace in your hand to draw 2 cards. So really strong, and you're actually plussing a card at that point because you're only trashing 1. From hand to draw 2 cards, whereas before you was playing this to do that. And then we run 3 Mechanori. Bond hates this, Rookie Rush hates this, so you know it's there for that reason alone. It's a forecasted drop as well, so worst comes to worst, you can throw it on board without giving too much memory away. Level 5 is where it gets a bit out there. I'll go through bit by bit, as I think it's about 14 in here I run. First one, machinedramon, your opponent's turn, while this Digimon has machine in its traits, it gains reboot. So with that, it's a really strong card just because it gives you the reboots, allow you to restand so you don't have the issue of being swung into, and if you have blocker, also comes up there. But when Digivolving, you may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 level 6 Digimon with a card with machine in its trace, among them to your hand and trash the remaining cards. So all in all, it's particularly very useful, and it really helps with the deck's kind of main theme in that what you want to do, because you are a tower builder but in a very weird way. 2 Megadramon, no criteria, just gives blocker to the next one above it, which is good. If you get DD evolved from your boss one, means the next one above it. Generally always put this bottom of your stack, because then whatever you get moved down to, it will still have blocker. 1 Megadramon, 2k buff on your turn. Volcanomon, security attack +1 if your opponent has an unsuspended Digimon. On Andromon, retains the same effect on when Digivolving as the machinedramon, but this one as well. Digimon has machine in its traits, it gains blocker. So good card. It's like this, but situational. So it's just that added ones. If you don't see this quick enough, you still have one of these. Thing to keep in mind is that these do say opponent's turn. Metal Greymon security attack +1 when you have reboot. So it can come up. There's a reason for a few cards in here, and it's not because their effects are actually that useful, because they're not. There are other things I could put in otherwise, because like you actually don't have the reboot very often, because this is reboot on your opponent's turn. It's irrelevant to your turn, so you don't actually get security attack +1 from this. But it's an 8k body, and same for this one as well. While this one has reboot, it's 2000 DP, 8k body, 8 play cost, not 8k body. And the reason that's relevant is if you're at your boss monster, quite often security control players will want to ultimate flare you. So you make sure that your criteria when you're doing, and I'll go through the boss monster and what he does. You make sure you stack it correctly. So this is at least 3 down for ultimate flare, because that's gonna be your main piece you've got to watch out for. Because what they tend to like to do, because you put in so much memory when you do it, is they'll ultimate flare, and then they'll Garrett Swarmer, which means you're losing sideboard. If you have one of these, it stops them from doing that, because, well, yeah, you're at 8 cost, you're out of range of it. That is the reason for these. It's not because you're actually getting the effects off of them. There are so many other things that could just be useful. You could bulk out some of the other ones a little bit more, but yeah, we have reasons for it. Metal Greymon. When attacking, when this Digimon attacks a player, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. So it has a when attacking effect on itself, even if you don't go to boss monster, but it also has pierce in it for a machine type or a dragonkin. So this also works with the War Greymons and that, just to give them piercing, which is always nice. So red and piercing always goes together quite happily. Megadramon. On play, delete up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. One of the only ones that has an on play. I would possibly bump this to 2 just because of that. I don't play out very often, but you know, it would be nice if there was more on plays I could use from cyborgs, but there really isn't, sadly. But while this Digimon has machine, its traits against security attack +1, so this gives us more aggression with our bodies as well. And we run 1 of Andromon, blocker. Run a 1 of Gigadramon. On your opponent's turn, this Digimon gets 2000 DP, so this allows us to be a blocker, but with more of a threat, so they can't get over us. Particularly good card, Mabimon. It's got the same effect as on the Digivolve as Andromon and machinedramon, but it's got effect is if this Digimon has machine in its trait, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less, and that's when attacking. So this let's put these here. So this allows you to pop Systemons, Blancs, CL. You know, it allows you to get rid of those blockers. So because obviously most Jesmons themselves will set themselves up to have at least 1 blocker. So you could do it so at the point of swing, pop the Blanc, CL's got no blocker with it anymore. If you've got the buffs underneath it, so your machine Digimon can go over it, over the Jesmon with CLs in happy days. There's another one here that I haven't put in because I'm just this is a different build that I'm testing. Is SAC Metal Greymon from set 1.0. It's a 3000 DP buff. It is a cyborg as well, so it does fit into it all. But if you'll see there's quite a lot of cyborgs. Now some of them don't have massively good effects. Like you've got the Metal Greymon back from 1.0 as well, which is on swing game 3. Then your opponents don't lose 3. You know, you've got all these different kind of tech pieces you can try around with. What I will say about this deck is probably one of the most diverse, and I might be biased in saying that, but I feel like there's a lot of ways you can build this deck, and you can really develop it into your own kind of thing, your own kind of niche. So I encourage you to be as imaginative as possible with it. And if you're going to build, this is like my pet project. If you're going to build, you want to bounce ideas, hit me up in the comments. Hit me in the server. My link will be in the description for the server as well. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see what you'll come up with. But last thing, so we run 6 level 6s. 1 of Craniumon. We do run blockers. This causes problems for Agubon. This causes problems for security control. Generally just removal. one of OG 1.0 machinedramon on play, you digivolve by 2 on things, and it's 12 cost on play. It's a machine, so even if I digivolve on top of any of these, like just one of them, it will get the effect still, which is the good part. Or let's say they digivolve my main piece by 1, I can digivolve it into this, and I'll get all the buffs or everything that's underneath it. So it can be quite useful. And then now I'm waiting on 2 more of the. I have got them all purchased, but for the time being they're not here. But just let's take a moment here. Don't get me wrong, I do like the standard as well, but such a nice card. I'm waiting on my last 2; they're on the way. But this card, it makes machinedramon playable. Sadly, this didn't have enough to it. The Dark Masters from 1.0, they just don't see play anymore. Realistically, Puppetmon was about the only one that sees some form of play. But it's nice to see something from machinedramon, because he's one of my personal favourites. So what he does is, on play, you may place up to 5 red and or black cards with Cyborg in their traits, and different card numbers from your hand and or trash in this Digimon Distribution cards to gain 1 memory for each card placed. If you place 5 under it, it becomes a 7 cost to play, which is pretty good for level 6, which then gets 5 different traits from whatever you put under it, because you have to put 5 different things underneath there. It means it's not going to have the same things. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would be nice to stack like 3 or 4 Gigajamons underneath it and a blocker, and have a Craniumon next to it, and you're laughing. But it ain't happening. But there is one thing unfortunate about this one, alright, which is this set, like, yellow isn't a thing. I mean, people do play it, don't get me wrong, Lord Nightmon's still a good deck, you don't see much of it. Say you will do obviously Changrama control and things like that, but it has an alternative effect as this Digimon's DB can't be reduced, which would be amazing around the times of Lord Nightmon and Wargreymon when they was running wreaking havoc. But it's out now. We'll make do with this, because Secure Control still runs Wyvern's Breath. It's nice to be able to say no to that. But on top of that, when this Digimon would be deleted, you may trash 2 level 5 Digimon cards in this Digimon's Dilution card to prevent this Digimon from being deleted. So you stack 5 things underneath it, so that means you've got 2 detaches to stay alive. Most removal things for level 6 would cost at least, I'm going to say 5 plus. Just on the base way, you're normally going to be a Gaia Force or an Iron Fist. One's also actually 8. I'm just going to go with 8. Which means if they use 2, they're passing turn back to you. So that's not the worst thing in the world. They use 2 form removal, you stay on board. It's a really, really strong card. These are kind of just like tech pieces. I think you can go any way around with it, to be honest, how you want to, depending on your playstyle. If you're more defensive, you might want to max out on Cranias. If you're more aggressive, you can go Machinedramon, and Piedmon's a nice tech piece. The new one from EX, which is on play, delete to 4 level 4 your opponent controls. And then your opponent's turn, or your turn, or something like that, if one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted, draw 1 card once per turn. So you've got a variety of techs. Level 7s, we run 2 Sword Defeat. We run 1 Sword. Don't really have to explain much into these. These are good for the bond matchups, and play from security can give you an added body. This allows us to go wide. We also run a lot of level 5s, so worst comes to worst, we bring out 2, we throw a cranium down on one of them, just to give ourselves a little bit of protection. And yeah, it's got removal on swing. Options. We run a few just to try and cover ourselves. Now, one of the new ones is Ultimate Connection. You may trash 1 level 5 card with Cyborg in its traits in your hand to gain 2 memory and draw 1 card. Now, the reason that's good is because it's a -1, so basically you're not paying anything for it except for a card out of your hand, which is fine because you can use it from trash for this guy's effect, and you can also use cards in hand for this one's effect. So the cards you draw then make this live. But the beauty of it is, your security activate your card's main effect, so you actually gain 2 from security because you're not paying anything. You just trash 1 from your hand, but you're actually just going to gain 2 memory, so it's like a Hammer Spot Black. Run 2 Flare, good against Jesmon. Good against the mirror because it can take these down, because you want to find ways to get rid of this as easy as possible. This Digivolve does that. Good against just rush in general, because you know, clear three cost plays out for the hell of it. 2 Iron Fist Lancelot. Good against Jesmon. Good against obviously boards that tend to play out a lot of the similar cost things, like D Brigade can do that quite a lot. Play threes, a lot of 3 costs out, or 2 costs, or however you want to go about it. So this can come up on occasions. And then we run 2 men boosts, just to give us a bit more filter, allow us to gain some memory back another turn, because one of the ideal combos you want to go for is you want to get a full stack underneath this. I won't get the stack out, but you want to get a full stack underneath this. You want to be at 6, and you want to go ahead into as well. Go wide, swing, pop, add this back to hand, and then you recycle your machinedramons, which means you can go all over again with whatever you have in trash. So that can be pretty naughty. I had one game where I got 3 machinedramons out in one game, and they was all on board. And Ancient Greymon, they just wouldn't die, and the Ancient Greymon couldn't get through it at all. Last but not least, Tamers. 2 Izzy and Joe. Generally a good card. Allows you to draw if you really want to. I don't ever use it that often, to be honest, but it's just the stops your opponent from going too wide too quick. They know they're going to give away too much memory. And then your memory reset is the tie. Normally I'd run an Izzy in that, but with the fact of we're running blockers and that, it's nice just to give this buffs to Largemon, Machinedramon, Craniumon, Mechinori at 8k power, and restand if this makes one of them dies is nice. Same for Machinedramon, potentially with a Gigadramon underneath it going up to being 15k with 2. Cranium with a Gigadramon underneath it being 16k. So out of reach of things like Wyvern's Breath, which is nice. So that's the deck. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you do enjoy the content, if you do want to see more of it, just drop me a comment below. Just let me know what you're looking for this set. I do have some more to do. I have been doing quite a bit of testing already. But all in all, thanks for stopping by at Gordo's Games. Let's get digital, let's get going, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and we'll catch you back next time.